I don't even need a microphone. If I was in Wyoming, you'd hear me. Can we say bad words?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're still trying to get all this figured out ourselves.
Oh, okay.
So, you know,
all right.
like...
You're like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah,
do what you want.
We just
do
our
what you
thing.
want.
Exactly.
All right, good.
We good?
Yeah, we're good. We're rolling.
We're rolling. Cool. So this is how it starts. So, yeah, this is going to be the third episode of In the House with Jen Kober. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks. Is it called In the House with Jen Kober, or it's called In the House?
In the House.
And then with Jen. Okay. I was like, I love the name of your podcast. It's In the House with Jen Kober.
It's just all about you.
Every week we have other people, but
It's called Jen Kober.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd like it. I'd like it.
So how are you?
I'm fantastic. I am enjoying your fair city so much.
Beautiful.
It's
Even
gorgeous.
This open carry, weaponized city. You like this place?
You know what? I am a lesbian who looks Mexican, and I'm okay here. So I think that's a proof that anyone can feel safe. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Last year it was a little shakier. It was a little shakier when I was here.
What happened?
Oh, you know, just I feel like we weren't at where we are now.
Yeah.
So now everybody's had a year to kind of, right? A cop did ask me to see my papers, but I just handed him some zigzags. He was fine. We moved on. I don't have,
Thanks for that.
yeah, thank you at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good, real
Yeah.
good.
So how many times have you done Phoenix?
I was here at the other club a couple times, so I've been here, coming here for about 3 years.
Okay.
And now I'm here at the Old House of Comedy, which is not the old house. It's new.
It's brand new.
This is the swankiest club in the whole. I love this bad boy.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Rick Bronson is a swanky motherfucker.
He gets
Classy
down.
son of a bitch.
I have never seen the man not in a suit
Right.
until yesterday. And when I finally did see him not in a suit, let me tell you, the guy had on like cargo pants and a Ralph Lauren double-breasted I know he had on a $150 fucking T-shirt. I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
You give class, you project class. It is. I've been treated like a rock star the whole time I've been here. I love it. I
That
love it.
condo over there is pretty sweet.
That's
live
I
there.
own a home that is not as nice as that condo. There's more counter space on that condo. It's unbelievable. I don't even need a bed. They're like, and then there's bedrooms on either side. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what do you mean there's bed? I could live in the living room. There's a pull-out couch, a ginormo TV, a dining room table as if I'm going to sit down to eat anything. It's all getting eaten in that bed in front of the TV. Come on, let's be real. Let's be real. I'm a comedian.
People walk through that door, and then when the comics come through that condo, they're like, "What the fuck?"
I know. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. When they told me, because, you know, I get like a little itinerary a couple of days before I come.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, where am I staying? You know, whatever. How's this going down? And my agent's like, I'm like, where's the hotel? Just tell me where the hotel is so I can know that I can drive in,
6.
get to the hotel.
Yeah.
You know, I knew it was going to be a nice hotel. I've played Rick's Club in Minneapolis, and you stay at a really nice hotel there. I figured this was, you know, but where is it? Which Hampton Inn have we signed up for? So
Quinta.
we get there, and no. Hampton is way better than La Quinta. Come on. So there's not even a Denny's near a La Quinta. So there's so much to decide. I get the hotel information. He tells me, oh, it's a comedy condo. I'm like,
Oh no.
I'm like, no, are you serious? Like, I have already told them, like, if there's a comedy condo, I don't care. You put me up in a hotel room still, because listen, comedians are disgusting, sick fucking people. Yeah. And the things that they do in those condos are not anything that your bartender cleaning it up on Sunday is going to disinfect. Right. And there is no way I'm staying in your cum-covered comedy condo for the weekend. Like, literally, the last one I stayed in, I had to go to the Walmart. We were in Florida. I had to go to the Walmart. It was in Tampa. Side Splitters, that fucking shithole. And they put me in a condo. Y'all, you don't even understand it. It was like a prison shower. The water came out so hard, there was no spigot on it. It was stinging me. I was in pain taking a shower. Do you understand? It hurt. Yeah. It hurt for the water to hit me. I had to go to Walmart and buy a shower nozzle.
You bought your own?
I had to buy sheets. I wasn't sleeping on those fucking sheets. There was like a crust on the blanket.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
I bought sheets, a blanket, towels, and I took it all out of my commission for those agents.
Good.
I was like, don't you ever put me in a comedy condo again. So I'm getting this itinerary from the folks here, and they're like, oh, it's a comedy condo. And I'm like, are you kidding me? For real, and I can't believe Rick is doing this. Rick is class number 1.
It evokes so much negative
so you know
emotion.
what? I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ride this out. I know that if it's awful, I can go to Rick and be like, Come on, dude,
man.
I'm a girl.
Yeah, come on.
Can you just, I don't even care.
I'm a girl.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't sleep late. I know I look like a boy. I am a girl. I cannot.
Play the girl card when
Yes,
you want to.
I do it. I play femme once a year, and here's where it's going down. I'm like, please. You know, I knew if it was terrible, I could say that to him. So I just let it ride.
Yeah.
And when we walked into that condo, I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
I have done something right somewhere in the world. Because this is my birthday. My birthday was
the 12th.
Thursday, so it's my birthday weekend and Valentine's Day and everything else. So you don't want to be in a shithole on your birthday,
Right.
you know, like figuring which poor life choice has led you here, you know. So I didn't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Rick just takes care of it. That's the guy is, he is the MacGyver of comedy.
Yeah,
He is.
they spare no expense out here for sure, except
No.
on the staff. But you know, that's
We get
You know-
shafted left and right.
That's so funny that you guys say that. There's one of my real good buddies, Fraser Smith. No, Jimmy Burns. Jimmy Burns. This is Jimmy's joke. Jimmy Burns, who hosts a show in Los Angeles every week, he does a great joke where he says to the audience, you know, don't forget to tip your waitresses because we don't pay them shit. And then he says, no, we do. We pay them shit. And everybody loves it. You know what I mean? It's kind of a way to break the ice. Like, hey, fucker. You know what I mean? These guys are hustling it to you.
Right.
well,
Help
it
them
seems to
out.
be that
So
they didn't pay anybody shit, right? I mean, that's why you have the idea of the comedy condo and maybe even the Roach Motels or something. But is that changing? Do you think? Do you think something's?
well,
in the
I
air?
think that I don't know if something's in the air. I know something's up my ass, which is I ain't staying at your fucking Roach Motel. So if you want me to do a show, like and that's the truth. It's like I'm not a diva. I'm not demanding in any way. I'm not saying put me up at the Four Seasons. But I don't want a 6 or an 8 in the title of my fucking hotel. You know what I mean? Like 4 is all right. 4 Seasons is okay. How about just one letter? Just a W. Just put me there. Find me something nice. So, and I'm very lucky. I do get well taken care of. Not too many people have, and not too many times have I been shafted. And I only mention Side Splitters in Tampa, Florida. Because that guy was the
in the
biggest
camera, yeah.
douche bag in the world to me, and his club closed. So I know I'm not missing out on work. Damn it.
That's good. I like that. You're actually good on the mic. You don't even.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
holding
good.
it because I'm a
No,
comedian.
you're-
I'm totally
you're
like,
ready.
I'm like, where?
You got the fancy one. We're the ones that have to.
Oh, okay.
direct.
I'm good.
Yeah, no. So
I'll just
you're.
project from here.
Yeah, I like it. So, tell us, how did you get into the game then? I mean, what got you into comedy? And
I
let's hear the story.
grew up watching the TV, right? My mother did not believe in babysitters. She believed in putting you 4 inches from the screen and just letting you watch. I don't know what my mother did all day. I couldn't tell you. I was glued to the fucking TV. And so I just watched a lot of it. And so I was growing up at that time when all that A&E's Evening at the Improv and all that stand-up comedy being on TV was so heavy. I mean, there was literally a comedy club in every mall in America, and comedians were working like crazy, and what they made was insane, and the shows they did, and you knew comedians, and you knew they were all getting sitcom deals. I mean, this is when all that was happening, and so I was watching it all happen, and so I think I just always wanted that. I saw it happen. And when I was 16 years old, my friend Susan Bennett signed me up for an open mic that I thought we were just there to watch. And she signed me up to be
put you
in
on
it. She
it?
put me on it.
Wow.
She literally
that's
looks at me.
awesome.
I'm 16. We're not even supposed to be in this bar, y'all. We're in New Orleans, and they don't give a shit. So I'm in there. I look 25. I'm 16, and we're drinking and stuff. And she looks at me while we're clapping for the guy who just went, and she goes, "Hey,
You're on next."
You're next." And I laughed. I was like, "Fuck you! You're so funny." And the guy goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage for her first time, Jennifer Kober."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, and then they all clap me up, you know what I mean? So I kind of had everybody's support when I went up there. And I told a joke about being able to hear my parents have sex through the air conditioning vents. It got huge laughs.
That's pretty funny,
And
yeah.
I was just hooked. Like, when you do that, when you make people laugh like that,
Positive
it's
reinforcement.
just, it's intoxicating. It's a good little high for me.
Right.
And so I was hooked on it, and I kept doing it. And that started when I was 16, and I lived in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is about 3 hours west of New Orleans, and I would drive every weekend to New Orleans to do this open mic to do stand-up comedy as a sophomore in high school. You know what I mean? So I just got hooked on it very quickly, and I was very lucky. Jimmy Dory, who was a fantastic comedian, he was out of Chicago at the time, kind of took me under his wing and helped me. He was like, because at some point, I feel like I was doing like cover comedy, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I didn't realize it was
jokes.
about writing. Yeah. I thought it was about being funny, and so I'm up there doing like Thea Vidal's. I'm talking about being like a big black woman. Like I'm not hiding that it's not my material. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm just performing it. And Jimmy was like, "Come here, come here. Like you gotta write it yourself." And I'm like, "Oh, and and he's like, you're funny, you have timing, but you gotta, what stuff is going on with you? That's the Vidal story. No one, when you say I'm a big black woman, you can't say that. You know what I mean? Like, it's comics, right? So he's not. But in my head, they're like, come on. Right? Mm-hmm. These guys, James Taylor, he sings other people's songs. Right. I mean, what are you talking about? It happens. You can't do that here. And so, what's funny is there's actually a contest in San Francisco where you do someone else's material.
Really?
It's
like
a funny little thing.
Show?
You do 7 minutes of somebody else's material, and it's a competition. So you just start doing somebody else's stuff. Some people will do a little bit of everybody's. You know what I mean? But it's some. What's great about San Francisco is they have so many alternate comics. Mm-hmm. Those weirdo,
right.
Guys who have a fucking ukulele and are fucking whisking one eye to the west and one eye southeast and, doing their shit. And so they have so many comedians like that it becomes such a funny, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's such a funny take because it ends up being, kind of an impersonation and a roast and everybody. In the end, they crown somebody the winner. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But it's a night of everybody doing everyone else's material.
That's so
because
cool.
You see it so much, know. Right. You see, even just working here, you must, by like Sunday, you're like, yeah, we know,
Our local comics that do hosts or that do feature act a lot, I know their act.
Yeah, you totally do.
Yeah.
You totally know their stuff. And so you can't help that, like, what you want to bring out is something original, something that's, it's a writer's medium.
Well, interesting. Steve White told us he kind of started that way. He started doing Richard Pryor, like his whole hour. Just Richard Pryor for an hour.
45 minutes of Richard Pryor.
But I love that story. I love that story.
Well, it seems like everybody goes through that. I know, like, I'm a musician in my own personal life, and like, that's one thing that you kind of are told, study the greats, kind of play their music, like go through that lifestyle or, try to mimic as much as possible. And then from there, then you kind of start developing your own sound. I mean, it's got to be the same with comedy.
It absolutely is. And I did a speech in high school, like competitive speaking and stuff. So that's what the freaking event was. Mm-hmm. You memorized somebody else's words and you did all the characters and you played everybody and I did that competitively and I was fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, so like it's just what I was used to do. Right? Well, I think she was fucking with me that night in particular. Like, I never even really said it, like I was funny and everybody always tried to get me to tell my stories whenever we were out or whatever, in high school. I mean, this was, big social media, but where if you wanted to shame somebody, you had to do it with a ditto machine. There's no technology or anything, it was about, you entertaining the people. And so that's what I did. And so she wanted me on stage and that's what she did. She signed me up and the rest is history.
Right. So how'd you find yourself in the headlining position and doing all this acting?
I told a booker asked me if I could do a gig. And I said, what does the gig pay? He said, the headliner gets $200 and the feature gets $100. What are you? I said, I'm the headliner. Oh, yeah. I'm the fucking headliner. What are you talking about? I'm driving from California. I ain't making $100 fucking dollars. Yeah. I need $2. And that ain't even gonna fucking get me there. So I need to really be funny and sell these homemade, CDs that I've, burned on my little, it was just, that's what it was. Yeah. That's what you did. And so I told him I was a headliner. I literally probably had 20 minutes of material, and they wanted me to do 45 to 60. So I did what I do. I talked to the people. I engaged them. I just improvised the fucking rest. And so It was about money. It was about money. It was a financial fucking decision to become a headliner. I featured one time. I opened for Mike Wallace in Seattle. I killed. He ate a shit sandwich. They never featured me again. They were like, no, she's not going
can't
first.
do that, yeah.
She's not going first. And so I just did.
So where were you born then?
I was born in New Orleans.
Okay.
I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is like west near Texas.
Okay.
Not very exciting.
Yeah.
My dad did his medical residency up in Memphis, so I was in Memphis for like a little while I was a young kid, but most of my happenings were in Lake Charles.
And then where was the move to LA then? What brought you out to LA then?
Hurricane Rita.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Hurricane something. That's
Here's the thing.
It's gotta be right.
I bought a house. I bought a house in Lake Charles in July of 2005. Happy. I bought a house. This is so fucking awesome. So much can go wrong at a closing. Nothing. I bought this house so fucking easy. I threw a concert in my hometown, and I had Juvenile come in and headline it. You know what I'm talking about? Juvenile, the rapper.
Yeah.
Slow motion for me. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
I had him come in and headline the show. I had every black person within 500 miles of my town in my club. I made $11,000. I thought I was the richest motherfucker on the planet, and I bought a house.
I was in there.
I was like, boom. I buy this house in July of 2005. In August 29th, Katrina happens in New Orleans. Everybody from New Orleans evacuates to Lake Charles, where I am. So I'm like, fuck, I should sell this house. Everybody wants a house. Their house just got fucking ruined. And I was like, I'm on the road. I'm gonna go do these gigs. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna sell this fucking house. I'm gonna make so much money. I'm so, whoo, yes, finally I can like go to California and get my shit going. I'm in Duluth, Minnesota, watching the fucking TV. Hurricane Rita, 3 weeks later, hits my fucking town. Two streets in my town flooded, and I live in between them.
Oh shit.
My house was fucked. And I didn't even live there very long. I probably lived there 2 of the 3 weeks of the span of when all this went down. But all my stuff was there. And I just like walked into that house, and all your stuff is fucking wet. There's like shit floating. There's just mold everywhere.
God,
it's
yeah.
fucking
Turds
hot.
floating
It's
all over.
fuck. I just burst into tears. And my mother, who's so nurturing, looks at me and goes, "What are you fucking crying about? You can't fix it. Move on."
She's very
And
pragmatic.
I'm just like, can I just take a minute? Like everything I own is under fucking
ruined.
wall. Guitars that I just spent. You know what I mean? Like my first piano, a fucking dresser that my grandfather carved and carried on his fucking back from wherever the fuck they were. You know what I mean? Like I had shit, like stuff that was mine, and it was all gone. And I was just like, ugh. And so I got $35,000 from FEMA on a MasterCard, and I moved the fuck away.
That was it.
And I left, and I
Never looked
never went back. I mean, I go back all the time, but
yeah.
yeah, not really.
So
It's a cool story.
Didn't that sound good? All right.
That's crazy.
Hope it's true. Yeah, 'cause that was cool.
It is. It is. Sadly, I'm a terrible liar.
35 grand. Well, how much do you think you would have got for that house had you sold it before Rita?
I mean, I bought it so cheap. I had bought that house so fucking cheap. I mean, I probably could have gotten 3 times what I paid for it. You know, it was a cute little house. And here's the thing, it was on the water. It was on like a little bayou thing that went by. So it was nice.
Yeah.
Eventually, it was in the water.
Eventually it was waterfront property. It was.
So it worked out then, obviously.
In a weird
Everything
way.
happened. Here's I prayed for a really long time. Please, dear God, get me the fuck out of this town. I didn't think he would take
Natural
everything
disasters.
from me before he sent me there.
Right.
But now I'm more specific when I
when
pray.
you pray.
But it all happened for a reason. It all got me out there, and I mean, I'm like literally paying for my headshots in Los Angeles with my FEMA master.
You're using
It
that?
says
Oh.
FEMA fucking big. I'm like, I'm supposed to spend it on a place to live, but I have.
I need
Take this
headshots
FEMA
first.
card.
Yeah,
Yes, you can. Just
can
like-
you accept this? And they're like, like I hope I never get audited for that, whatever that. Please don't show this in Louisiana. I don't want the Red Cross getting a hold of me. But it was scary because they gave us. I mean, it ended up being what I got for my flood insurance is what the chunk of that money was. But everybody in Louisiana got like $3,000. Yeah. They gave you $1,000 for what was in your refrigerator. I was like, man, I had just gone to the grocery store. I had $1,000 worth of meat in there. Let's go.
I had my Van Gogh in the fridge.
Yeah, actually. They were like,
pizza rolls.
Can you itemize everything you have in your house?
Yeah. Oh, that's absurd.
I mean, I can. But I mean, I don't think this is going to work out well for y'all. You don't want me to tell you what was in my house, do you?
That's weird. Yeah. Well, so then you moved to LA.
I moved to LA, and
what part of LA are you in?
I was in the Valley for a really long time. I was in Sherman Oaks, and now I live on the ocean.
Oh wow!
Because I can't.
Because the FEMA card paid for it.
That's right.
Why wouldn't you? Right?
Thank you, taxpayers. Yeah. I appreciate your help. No, I didn't. When I moved to Los Angeles, I made that $35,000 that I got last a long freaking time. It really almost all went to rent, out there. You're paying, $2,000 a month to live in a one-bedroom in the Valley next to a guy who stays home all day smoking cigarettes and editing porn. So it's a weird community to be in. You know what I mean? Weird, so you're just like, I'm just gonna fucking put my head down and work and do what I'm supposed to do. And so I did.
What was the first gig out there? Was it acting or was it comedy?
It was definitely comedy. I mean, I traveled and stuff and did everything from there. I did the Seattle comedy competition first. Okay. I had opened for Sinbad back in my hometown right before I left.
Really?
And he made some phone calls for me and got me into the San Francisco comedy competition. And I did that, and I got into the finals. And so then he got me into the Seattle comedy competition. I did that, and I came in second. And then we just, Booker. I had never networked with comedians like this. I was in fucking bumfuck Louisiana. I didn't know. Nobody was helping me. You know what I mean? There were shows that starred me because I fucking made them happen. I went to a guy and was like, hey, can I use your room? Can I rent out your club and throw a juvenile concert to finance the next 2 years of my fucking life? I was just hustling, trying to figure out how to make money to not have to have a real job. That's what I wanted.
That was the motivating
I want to drink grape soda, eat hot links, and rock on a fucking rocket chair to the tune of Slow Motion. I don't give a fuck about putting on pantyhose and going to a real job. That was not going to happen. Yeah. So I did these competitions, and I just networked. You're in a competition with 16 other comedians. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as it whittles down, you end up spending all 3 weeks with 5 of them. So you just become friends, and they're like, oh, I'll call this booker for you. I'll do this for you. I'll help you out. Here, talk to this guy. Tell him I said you were funny. Tell him this. Tell him you did this. And so everybody starts helping you out. And before I knew it, I was on the road all the time. I didn't even really stay in my cat lived in my apartment. And then I was on the road, and I was asked the guy editing porn if he'd go throw some food at the fucking cat every now and then. And then, I just stayed out. Yeah. I took my dog with me, and I just stayed out on the road.
And so how did you get into the movies? And also, do you want to do that more than you want to do comedy, or are you happy?
Is it split?
Both?
There is no way I would ever stop doing stand-up comedy. It is breath to me. Mm-hmm. It is what I have to do. Mm-hmm. So that will always happen. Yeah. Would I like to do it less and perhaps closer to my own bed? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Would I like to do it flying in a first-class ticket and just staying at the W? Uh-huh. Yes. You know what I mean? I would love to keep traveling and keep doing what I'm doing, but I would like to do. I want to have a sitcom. That's my goal. That's what's going to happen. Ultimate. It's going to go down. Yeah. So, you got to do the work.
Write your own, maybe.
I'm writing it. Yeah, it's in development. We're getting it all done. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be more or less your life. Is that?
It's very heavily based on things I know about.
Go figure, huh?
I mean, I'm not trying to
reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're talking about, putting something original on television, can I really put up a family comedy that's going to be different than what you've seen? Fuck yes. My family is insane. The situation of my life is odd. It is not crazy. It's not awful. It's just very different than what probably everyone else has seen. So I would like to show you that and see how funny it is and how similar it is and what the differences are and what the sameness is. That's not even a word. What the
Sure it is.
commonality is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think. Well, that's your strength, right? That
yes.
seems to be your.
And the
strength.
only way I know how to do that is by telling you what's going on with me, because I can't tell you what's going on with everybody else. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, because who do you have to model yourself on as far as female comics that had or have a sitcom? There's, like, I think of Roseanne.
Yeah.
Probably.
Very
Yeah.
successful.
That's
And Roseanne hates me.
Really? Really? Why? Is there a story? There's
I
gotta be a
got
story.
really stoned one time and
This is how all good stories
watched her. She had a podcast at the time where she was doing a lot of political stuff, like talking about Israel and the Palestinians and the role of
Roseanne?
women in, like, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
You're like,
like-
Roseanne, why are you doing? So I watched the whole thing and I was super, super stoned.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I thought I should tell her that that's not what she should be doing. She doesn't. She's funny. There's a way here if what you can do is make people laugh, and what you want to do is give people a message, why don't you give people that message in a way that makes them laugh so that they might fucking hear it?
Yeah.
So that people that might not want to hear it will still hear it because they're laughing. You're showing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's a
yeah.
way to be heard, and she ain't fucking doing it. So I thought I should tell her this. And I wrote her this long fucking email about how I just believed that she had this gift of laughter, that like I'd never laughed the way I laughed at her.
Yeah.
And if she's got these crazy fucking ideas, there's a way for you to make us all hear that. I don't know anything about Palestine or Israel or fucking, I mean, I know the highlights, but I mean, fuck, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't get into your issue. And she's so, her views on it are so very leftist and so very, yeah, I mean, they're just not that, I mean, I'm sure they have validity. I'm just saying that they're not at all in the norm or mainstream of ideas.
Yeah.
And so if you have those things that you want us to hear, you have to say them in a way that we're going to hear them.
Right.
And she wasn't doing that. And I was high enough to think I should tell her
Get a
that
life
she's
coach,
doing
Roseanne.
it wrong. And so I wrote her this long email. And at the end, I'm just like, I really feel like I could help you with this. Like, I feel like I could help you make what you're saying funny. And she wrote me back and was basically like, thank you for
The input.
taking time to email me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do what I do. And you should really talk to this lady about, you know, if you have writing that you want to do, whatever. I write with her sometimes and she helps me develop material. And then I talked to that lady, and that lady was like, "Oh, you pissed Roseanne."
Really?
That's what she sent you to me. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" You know, and so it became kind of a thing.
Has
a
it become
thing.
like hostile? Like have
No.
you kind of reached out?
We have not like run into each other. I'm sure I am not in the cosmic consciousness of Roseanne at
Yeah,
fucking all.
yeah.
I'm sure she does not give a fuck or even care to know who I am.
She cared
But
enough to
it's-
give you a response.
She did give me a response, and I appreciated it. But I am genuinely afraid of our interface
Yeah.
when it happens,
Yeah.
and it will happen. It is planned to happen.
You should
You
have
need
her
to
on
stay
your show.
tuned.
You should have her
Exactly,
on your
right?
The hurricane. It may actually be beneficial. In the
I
long run.
agree. I think
Optimism.
sometimes you gotta fucking break everything down
Yeah.
to build it back
Destroy
up.
it all.
Yeah, destroy it all. Blow it all the fuck up.
Self-destruction. It's a beautiful
You can
thing.
give Roseanne life advice,
Yes,
life coach her.
I could.
Sometimes that is analogous to Hurricane Rita.
Hurricane Roseanne's coming in.
Hurricane Roseanne.
Oh wow, that's a great story though. So,
Thanks.
so what's on the platter besides the sitcom then?
I mean, I'm trying to do lots of stuff. I have a book that I'm writing that I'm trying to. I just.
What's that all about?
It's about
About you?
It's actually about the time I spent in Louisiana right
Okay.
after the hurricanes. I married a girl and she turned out to be fucking crazy. So I moved back home and had like 2 or 3 years where I lived with my brother, and it's kind of about those 2 or 3 years. And I wrote it as a book. I would ultimately like to see it turned into, you know, something, a screenplay
Yeah.
or a series or something, because it's about a specific time, and there's a lot of flashback in it. It's almost like my life as the Wonder Years, right? You know, so so I think I love the idea about doing a show with a kid version of myself in it. Like we just find the fattest, funniest little fucking girl we can find. We chop off all her hair and we're like done. You know.
Well, they just did that with Eddie Wong, right? He's do you know about that? It's like an Asian sitcom that. He wrote a book. He's a cook.
Is it the Fresh Off the Boat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's super cute. I was up for a part on it that I was out of town. I was pinned for it and couldn't do it. So, but it's those kind of shows where I think where people bring in their real life, but you know,
adapt it to
dramatize it for you know, you adapt it to that it's going to be. You want it to be funny, whatever. Right. But those things that are based in truth. Are just so, and that show is set in the 90s. That's what's so funny. The Goldbergs is about a real guy too. Excuse me, the guy that created it. Have you seen that show, The Goldbergs? Wendy McClendon-Covey, Jeff. You don't know this show?
I've seen no.
Jeff Garland from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay. He's the dad. Patton Oswalt is the voice. It's a great show. It's called The Goldbergs. You should check it out. NBC, I believe, and or maybe ABC. Shut up. It's a great little sitcom, but it's set in the 80s, and so it's about a family. And what ends up being so funny about it is like they're wearing members only jackets, and they've all got swatches on, and somebody's got a banana clip and a Coca-Cola rugby shirt, and you're like, oh my god, it's so funny. That's like, and Fresh Off the Boat is set in the 90s, so it's so funny because they're Asian, and the scene that I was reading for. And I never saw it on TV, but the joke in the scene was that they were both connecting up. It was two Asian guys, and they were kind of having a tech off, right? He's like, look, I have internet connection, and he does it all, but it takes him like 20 minutes to set it up, and you hear that like, like the dial up, and it's hilarious. It's so funny because that time, So I think that when shows can be real like that and add that layer on and show us those different genres like that, it's so great. To me, that's what I want to show. I want to show truth. And so I have to use me to do that.
Do you think sorry, go ahead, man. Do you think, that is where sitcoms are going to eventually go, is just based off that?
People say this to me all the time. You think we're going to go back to multicam? Is our sitcoms ever going to I don't fucking know. Right. I know what I like. I know what I want to see. And I know what I want to kind of put out there. You know what I mean? I can't. I feel like every time we say there's a trend towards this and there's a trend towards that,
it usually never.
It always takes a turn, and then you're like, yeah, there was until you told us there was, and now we're all pissed off at those. So ultimately, I think people want to laugh. Right. I think we live in a world that is where we are connected, but not personally, right? There's so much, excuse me, texting and emailing and whatever, and you're connecting with people, but you're not interfacing with people. And I think that what is so... and you're not interfacing with a television either, but I feel like what can be so connecting about that is that you are watching someone go through something. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're seeing it happen, whether you're watching it on your phone or your iPad or things. And I feel like I want to create a show that you would want to watch with other people, that you would say, oh my God, you guys come on, we got some wings and some weed and we're going to watch Jim Colbert's show. It's on, and there's that kind of feeling about the show. And
were you a big Breaking Bad? Did you get into that series?
I watched 10 minutes of one episode. I'm going to go to hell for this. And I was stoned. I fell asleep. I haven't started again. I haven't started it up again. You know what happened to me? Somebody gave me a list of like the 5 shows I hadn't seen that I needed to see.
Yeah.
Okay. So I started one episode of them all. And the ones that I was like, oh, yes, I have to know this, I go back to. Right. So I started House of Cards, and I got super into that. And then I watched that like 10 minutes of Breaking Bad and fell asleep, and then like went back to House of Cards. Like I don't think I ever went back. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, but it's on my list. It is definitely on my list. I still haven't seen any Walking Dead.
Really?
It hasn't even happened. Yeah. So no, and I just went out for a part on Walking Dead's the new one, The Walking Dead companion. I'm like, I'm too afraid to be in this show. I will piss my pants. I wasn't even playing a zombie. I was like nurse number 4. I'm like, thank God I had to play somebody scared, because I wanted to cry during the whole audition because I was so scared. Like, you can't book me on this. I'll fucking fall to pieces. This is not good, you know. And I guarantee you I'm gonna book it. Watch, because because it scared the shit out of me. But I did that. I did the movie The Killing Fields.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm a 911 operator in it. It's not, but the woman on the other end of the phone in the audition was screaming bloody murder. I was like, ma'am, like I really had to fucking calm this bitch down. Like, thank God she helped me get the part. But like, there was a blood curdling scream on the other end of the phone. But when I filmed it, right? You film it. No one's there. Yeah. No one's on the other end of the phone at all. It's acting. Me acting. So I'm like, it took me like 3 takes before I was like, can we just take a minute? Like, I didn't realize this is, in the audition, there was a bitch screaming her fucking, y'all don't know what this woman, he's got a knife. He's in the yard. She was going nuts. Wow. She lost her shit.
So it was easy to
It was easy to act with that. Mm-hmm. Now you're wanting me to be a big girl and just pick up the phone, like, you know. And I'm trying to be. My acting coach is like, sometimes you have to talk about the moment before. What's happened just before this?
Oh, how deep!
Right, and how you have to kind of know what that moment is. So the first line in this scene is, 911. What is your emergency? Right? So in my head, the moment before is like, and girl, I was like, wrecked him, damn near killed him. 911, what is your emergency? Like, that's my impression of like how that went down. Yeah. And because there's no one screaming bloody murder on the other side, now I have to rethink my moment before. It can't be something so funny because I'm not getting the blood curdling scream to leave from. So now I have to make my moment before like I'm really bored, or maybe I'm worried about something else, and then this phone call comes in that
opposite of hearing someone scream for their life.
Exactly. And so, it's called acting for a reason. I'm like, I'm not scared. She's like, act like you are. I'm like, okay. So.
Well, I don't think that's not, like, I could think of worse things to be paid to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I mean, what a great acting lesson. You know what I mean?
Right,
You're not always, even if somebody had been on that phone, maybe they wouldn't have screamed like she did. Maybe they would have just read the line. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're not always going to get what you need from the other person. Mm-hmm. So you have to find in yourself what to use for that part. Wonderful acting lesson that I got to learn and make $5,000. Thank you, Jesus.
Nice.
Damn.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It wasn't, not $5,000 like then. I think I got like, the whatever scale was, and then you get residuals. You do some looping in the end with the ADR. You know what I mean? I mean like total. Gross, not net, people. I don't want the IRS coming after me either.
That's awesome. So how many coaches do you have? Just the one, or?
There's a lady who I work with now in Los Angeles when I get stuff that's dramatic, just because I feel like it's not what I do. I want to do it so big because I'm, even when I do even when you do comedy on TV or in a movie, even when you're being funny, it's not the same as when you're being funny in a room full of people, because I'm trying to reach the person in the back. Mm-hmm. And on screen, the person in the back is right fucking here. Right, yeah. They are next to you. Right. You don't. I mean, you'll see when you watch this, you'll be like, she was big and loud. It scared people at home. Because you can't be that way, really, on film. You have to assume that the person is right here, and so it's a whole different thing. And trying to be dramatic and real and whatever is so much easier when you remember that they're right here. You know what I mean? I kept putting them out there. So I'm trying to be so dramatic and get everything, and just everything's a goddamn, I'm having a meltdown at like line 1. It's like, bitch, you have to build to that. You know what I mean? You have to have somewhere to go.
Do you think acting has now helped the stand-up? Or
absolutely. It all helps. Everything I do helps everything else I do. I mean, I've done a lot of improv. I think that helps me work with crowds. I think I've done a lot of stand-up that helps me, have jokes on a kind of Rolodex about things. If somebody were to ask me, say something funny, you know, I got something I can say. If somebody says, tell me a story, I got a story I can tell you. If somebody says, give me a quick joke, I got a quick joke. You know, whatever those things are, and you just come to know them. And then the acting helps me when I go to tell these stories on stage. Now I'm acting it out. Now I'm being more physical. I'm, you know, doing the other characters, the other people in the story and stuff, and moving around so much more. And it's all helped. It's all helped everything, of course.
Have you taken any like comedy classes?
I've never taken comedy classes.
What are your thoughts on that? Because that's like a very interesting, I don't know.
I don't think that the rap that comedy classes get is kind of fair. I think people are like, you can't teach that, or people are like, you need a class. Right. I think that you know if you need a comedy class. Yeah, you know what I mean? If you're like, I'm interested in learning how to do this because I really don't know. I think I was just at an open mic and I saw comedians and I was like, ooh, you know what? You give me that kid for 2 weeks, I could fix him. Yeah. I could fix him. He's got something. He's got a little look going on. He's got a little persona. He's got a little opinion on things. I need to clean him up, bathe him, put him in a cute hat that doesn't. Yeah, I keep seeing comedians getting on stage like, I'm like, put it to the side, put it to the back. I gotta see your face. You know, so I was like, let me turn this little hat around. I'm gonna clean him up. And if you gave me 2 weeks to work with him, I'm telling you, I could fix this kid. This kid would have a TV-ready 15-minute set if I had 2 weeks with them. But I'm not going to do that. I don't give a shit about that kid. I don't fucking care.
Fuck that kid.
I need to worry about me and not him. But I mean, if anyone asked me, of course, I would help and do what I could. But the truth is I get asked this all the time. What do I do? How do I get better? You know, what's the secret to comedy? And the secret is there's no fucking secret. It's a muscle. This is a muscle. Things, right? You have to work it out. The only way you get better is by doing it. You tell jokes to anyone who will stand there and fucking listen. If it's at the bus stop, if it's in your classroom, if it is at church, I don't give a fuck where it is. You find somebody that will listen to you tell jokes and you tell them. Yeah. And then you go put them on stage. And then you watch it or you listen to it or you have somebody take notes while you're doing it and you keep working it. I mean, that's what it is always. Any comedian. Comedians that have 5 1-hour-long specials on TV will tell you they are always thinking of the next thing, the next joke. What else is there for me to talk about? And recrafting things you've already done, because truthfully, the way the world is now with YouTube and people make videos of me all the time. You know, so once a bit gets out there,
it's out.
You'll have a moment where there's silence and somebody will beat you to your own fucking punchline. So now the game becomes, how can you change it to where they don't know what you're gonna. You don't say that. You say something even fucking funnier than that, because that guy's gonna say that because he's heard the bit. You know what I mean? So the game becomes, how can you keep it fresh and keep it changed up, but still be true to yourself and be true to what the joke was and make it all come together.
That's a great way to look at it, then. You're very optimistic about.
Well, you have to be. What am I going to do? Be mad at this guy? I mean, he's saying that because he's seen it 50 times because he fucking loves it. That's the truth. If he knows my material well enough to spit it back out at me, that guy fucking likes me.
Not only is he
I'm not going to be mad at it. He bought a ticket. I'm like, yeah, right? Not only is he a psychopath, and those are my people, but you know, he's paid money and he's here. He obviously wants to be part of the show. And people... I get heckled so much because I talk to them so much. I interact with the crowd so much, even though I'm doing material. I'm asking them things that are going to lead me into stuff.
A realm of material.
Excuse me. So if that's what I'm doing, then when they lead me somewhere, then I start hitting material, and I'll come back to them, whatever happens. So many times, especially when I've dealt with somebody that was a dick, they will come up to me after the show and be like, I loved it. It was great. But you know what I mean? I was helping you. I was helping you. You know, and that's genuinely how they feel. They think they are helping you. They like it so much. They want to be part of it. And I get that. There are people that I like. I met, Marlena Evans, Dr. Marlena Evans from Days of Our Lives. You guys probably don't know that because you're boys. She's a soap opera star. Her name in real life is Deidre Hall. I was as close to her as I am to you. I've been watching this woman on television since I'm 10 years old on Days of Our Lives. She's probably 68 years old now. She's fucking flawless. She looks exactly like she did the day I was 10 years old. I saw her and I burst into fucking tears.
Really?
I couldn't stop crying. I wanted to because I wanted to go say something to her.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something to her so bad. And I wanted to say something that would be meaningful. I wanted her to know that I was a comedian. I wanted her to know that I liked her. I wanted her to know that I was funny. Like, I wanted to get, what can I say to her that is going to really culminate for this woman to know what she means to me? I mean, this is a woman I probably watched on TV more than anyone in the world. And I said to her, I'm so glad you're not possessed by the devil anymore. That's what I fucking said to her. I swear on my life. I walked up to her. My friend is like, oh, I know her. I'll introduce you. He introduces me to her, and I said, I'm so glad you're not possessed by the devil anymore. That's what I motherfuckers... And then I just started crying, because I'm like, that's what you fucking just said to her? Like, I'm beating myself up inside. She just, like, looks at me like I farted on her and kind of walks away. And I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, I can't believe you let me fucking talk to her. Why would you do that? Like, I'm having a goddamn meltdown. I can't even stop crying. So I get it. I get wanting someone to like you so much that you're willing to ruin yourself and look like a total douchebag because you so badly just want them to like you and know you and be your friend. I get it. So I don't ever want to be mad at anybody for being as big an asshole as me. But at the same time, you're like, look, dude, you know what I mean? Like, there's other people here. Let's calm it down. It doesn't
shit out, huh?
Exactly. Like, let me give you the name of a really good therapist. I have an acting coach. Let's make this happen. So.
Oh wow!
All right,
That is the worst thing you could have said.
I know.
That's awesome.
All right, so I guess we're gonna finish up.
Oh, we
Yay.
got,
we
got
gotta
time?
bring people in.
Oh, there's people.
I know we've gone over about 15 minutes.
I'm so sorry. It's
That's
because I'm
okay.
late to everything.
That's all,
No, no,
hey,
no.
this was awesome. No,
Thanks.
Yeah. So what? Do you
What's
want
coming
people
up?
to know?
Yeah, let's plug
I
away.
have a website, jenkober.com. Kober, it's like
Yes.
sober with a K. Jen, short for Jennifer. So jenkober.com. It's got tour dates on there, videos, blogs, pictures, all that cool. There's photographic proof of all the shit I've said on stage. It's there. And people are like, it's you. Somebody said to me last night, I was walking out. I just started seeing a girl who lives here. And
There you
I was
go.
holding her hand while we were walking out of the club. And I hear a guy go, look, she wasn't faking. She's holding that girl's hand.
Oh my God.
Like I'm a fucking faux homo. I'm a FOMO. I'm not really, unless I'm like, yeah. I shaved my head. People are like, are you really from Louisiana? No, I just say that to sound cool. Like, of course. Why would I lie about this stuff? So, you know, that's the way.
That's our clientele
That's
right
what, but
now.
you know what?
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me, I have a friend, my friend Kate McKinnon is on Saturday Night Live. And she was telling me that people say to her all the time, like, so where do you guys tape though, really? She's like, do you know in the beginning they say live from New York, it's Saturday night? Yeah, but where are you guys taping really? Like, where are you? Like DC or
Yeah,
something?
Boston or something.
Yeah, like, she's like, no, we are live. We're not, first of all, we're not taping anywhere. And second of all, we're in New York. Like, people just don't, you work at a pizza joint. How big is the 10-inch pizza? 14 inches. What are you going to do? I mean, shit.
Some people can't be helped.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey,
It was a
thank you
blast.
so much. Yeah, pleasure.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
We did it.
Yes, we did it. We did it.
We did it.
Done.
All right, cool.
Get people
Thank you.
in here. Apparently there's a whole 1,000 moms outside.
They just left church. They're getting antsy. Start kicking the doors.
It's the church.